President-elect Joe Biden will soon become the 46th president of the United States.
We've been talking about it all morning, but President Trump says the fight for the White House, it's not over yet. He promises legal action.
Joining us right now to offer some legal insight is Associate Dean at Western Michigan University Cooley Law School, Tracey Brame. Good morning, Tracey. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you. How are you?
Of course. So concerns over election integrity is definitely a concern among many Americans. What is the next step for the Trump campaign in terms of legal proceedings?
Well, the campaign has filed suits in several of the swing states that went for Vice President Biden, and their allegations really at the heart of them cut to which votes are being counted, right? Which ballots are being counted and how that's being done, right? Whether they're observers, whether the Republican observers had enough room, could get close enough to actually scrutinize what was going on, whether there were invalid ballots being counted and things like that. So they're really kind of targeted lawsuits in the states that really made a difference in the election.
Yeah, speaking of all of that, what do you think Michigan lawmakers will be able to actually find when they subpoena all the election data?
Well, I think that what they will find is that the election went incredibly well, considering all of it we were dealing with, right? With trying to vote in the midst of a pandemic, trying to carry out an election in an extremely contentious time. From all accounts so far, I said in a previous segment that President Trump has been kind of signaling that there would be problems with the mail-in voting, problems with absentee voting, that there would be something kind of invalid about that process or nefarious about that process. And it seems to be quite the opposite. Like, things seem to have gone smoothly, and that's been borne out by the reactions of the court so far to the lawsuits that have been filed. There just has not been any concrete evidence shown of any widespread fraud or anything like that. And I think that's what lawmakers will find, or anybody who looks into it.
And when do you think President Trump will concede, and how will he do it?
Well, that is the big question. I don't know if he'll concede. And this is just my speculation, I would think that he would try to find a way to leave, if he does voluntarily on his own terms, find a way to come to terms with, kind of what's happening. So yesterday, yesterday evening at least was a day full of kind of the first stages of the transition. President-elect Biden and Vice President-elect Harris gave beautiful speeches last night calling for unity. There was a lot of energy around Vice President-elect Harris being the first woman, the first person of color to occupy that vice president role. And so the mood, at least of the country, seems to be kind of shifting away from fighting over the election and on to what's coming next. So at some point, right, I think that President Trump is that he's going to have to accept that that's the way that it's going, and hopefully he'll find a way to graciously do so. He's going to have to find a way before January 20th, one way or the other, and I think eventually he and his team will come to terms with that and find something that allows him to go out on his terms.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to watch and see what he decides to do in the coming months. Tracey, that's all the time we have right now. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
That is Tracey Brame. She is the Associate Dean at Western Michigan University Cooley Law School. So nice to have her on the show.
Yeah, definitely a great insight. Well,